there are issues. There are concerns. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-2. The LA Rams 3-3, just barely beat Josh Dobbs, a struggling Josh Dobbs, and the Arizona Cardinals, who were without James Conner. Pushed it out. They're 3-3 as well. The Pittsburgh Steelers 2-0 in the AFC North. They need this one, especially if the Detroit Lions pull one out against the Baltimore Ravens, climb back into first place in the AFC North. I want to talk about keys to victory. Okay, Nick, we'll start with you. Your key to victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Week 7, LA Rams, your boy Puka Nacua, going out there, balling out as he does. Continue to ball out. Let me shout out to Puka Nacua for, after Cooper Kupp's return, still being Puka Nacua. Also, very much so enjoy saying that name right there. Your keys to victory for the Steelers in Week 7.
I think one of the keys to victory is playing Joey Porter Jr. because they're going to have to play Patrick Peterson in the slot and have to deal with Cooper Kupp. So Joey Porter can maybe deal with a guy like Puka Nacua. And the thing about Nakua's game is he's more of a physical presence as opposed to a guy who can win with speed. So Porter is the type of person who can shut that down, as well as Patrick Peterson. But if you don't play Patrick Peterson in the slot, who's going to be covering Cooper Kupp? And that really just concerns me in so many aspects. I don't want to have Minkah Fitzpatrick, as much as I love him, as much as he is an awesome player. I do not want him guarding him one-on-one, because I just don't think that's Minkah's strength. His strength is being able to play, in zone coverage and read the quarterback's eyes from the deep third, and they just haven't been able to do that because of their the safety situation. But also, I think the Steelers need to get as much pressure as they can on Matthew Stafford. The reason the Rams have lost games at mainly to their best opponents like the 49ers and stuff like that, and the Eagles, is because those teams get pressured. They get that interior pressure, and it's not necessarily that Stafford plays bad with pressure. It's more so, he might force a throw or he might take a bad sack in that situation. Yeah. And that's what you want to force Stafford to do, because if you just let him sit in the pocket and pick you off, I'm sorry, but the way he's playing this year, he will see every hole in this defense and he will shred you apart. You have got to make sure that guy is uncomfortable in the pocket, or they are just going to flat out get embarrassed. And that's a sad thing to say, because I think the Rams are a solid team. They're not a great team, but I think the Steelers are a all right team with major faults on offense that can't make up for the faults of the defense. So the defense has to play. They have to be the heavy lifter. So, but make the Rams rely on their run game. Even a guy like, Zach Evans, that they might have to end up relying on, because they've been they've been rotating a ton of backs. They've been bringing guys back like Darrell Henderson. So you could see a major committee there. And I'm not so sure that as much as they've gotten success out of Kyron Williams, that they'll have the same success running with those types of guys. I did like Zach Evans coming out of Ole Miss, formerly TCU, but he was a 6th round draft pick for a reason. Definitely a guy who needs to win himself in the favor of the coaching there. But overall, just the 3 points: play Joey Porter, get pressure, have them rely on their run game. That's how you win.
I would agree. So heading into this week, the Rams running backs, they have totaled this season 4 carries. 4 running backs, 4 carries. 3 of them have 0 carries for 0 yards. So it could be a big one. I agree. You gotta get pressure on Matt Stafford. You gotta be able to shut down Cooper Kupp, man. That's such a challenge. But if you think Shannon Sullivan's going to be that guy, you're nuts. You're just what are you even thinking there? What are you at that point? And everybody wants to put blame on Austin. It's Mike Tomlin's defense. That's a straight. What are we doing, Mike? You're better than this. You're a defensive backs coach. Make the right call. Steven, your keys to victory, Week 7, Rams.
Well, I think it's going to be ball control. I think you look at the Rams, they are actually number 3 in time of possession for drive. Steelers, number 32. I don't think that you can afford to give the Rams a bunch of shots at this defense, especially considering how it's a little banged up right now. If you're missing TJ Watt, that makes things even worse. the Steelers are going to really need to take a step forward with their run game. They're going to need to be able to control the clock and, like I said, just keep it out of the hands of this explosive offense. I think the more opportunities you give Cooper Kupp and Nakua to break some explosive plays, I think the worse off you're going to be. And I think if you can, if you're the Rams, you can kind of exploit the fact that, like you said, these running backs are inexperienced. They're not going to be able to run the same way as they were with Kyron Williams. Zach Evans, I think, is going to be the fantasy waiver wire pickup of the century, but that's more wishful thinking than anything else. So,
dude, shout out Zach Williams or Zach Evans, because you best believe the kid got him.
Yeah.
Both
Oh,
weeks.
I did. Oh, I did too. I did too. I have Dameon Pierce and who's my other running back? Oh, I think Bijan Robinson is on a bye too. So it's the Zach Evans show this week.
We
But
have the same exact starting running backs, by the way.
my team is pretty bad, so that's
I was gonna
not
say
a good
that's
sign.
a
for either
rough
of us.
starting running back duo this season. So,
But yeah, so I think controlling the clock, keeping the ball at the hands of this offense that can get explosive in the passing game is going to be really important. And yeah, if the Steelers can't do that, then I don't really have high hopes for their abilities to contain Cooper Kupp. So I think it's going to be all about just limiting those opportunities.
yeah, I mean, I agree. You can't 30 seconds. You can't give that much time to Matt Stafford. You just can't. You can't go 3 and out against Matt Stafford. You can't do that to Sean McVay. Like, you give them more. The more opportunities you give those two, the worse the outcome is going to be. It's not. This is Kyle Shanahan. This is a spitting image, Kyle Shanahan, and what he can do if you give him more opportunities. He's not going to waste them. This is not Vegas. This is not Baltimore where mistakes happen. This is, you're going to go 3 and out 5 times in a row? Cool. Chances are we score at least once in that time frame because you're not doing anything on offense.
Yeah, and it could get late early. Like if you're giving them those kind of opportunities, if you're not creating any kind of momentum on offense, could be a long day and it could get over quickly.
Yeah, I agree. All right, my key to victory, one guy, big guy, huge, need him.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett. It's got to be Kenny Pickett, man. It's been 6 weeks. Kenny Pickett's played his worst football. He's got no answers to why things are going wrong or why he has the yips or why he's only successful at the end of a game. He's got no answers to any of it. This week, you need answers. You don't need him to be perfect. But if this is not a game where you walk away and say, "Oh, Kenny was not an issue here," or Kenny took a step forward, I think you're approaching very dangerous territory of it's the middle of the season. We're heading into week 8. The Steelers, even if they win, if the Steelers beat the Rams and Kenny Pickett plays terrible, you're at a point where you're like, how long can you go? How good can this team be with a bad quarterback, and how concerning is that bad quarterback? The Pittsburgh Steelers are loyal to a fault. I get that. They're not going to give up on Kenny Pickett. If Dan Moore is the starting left tackle this week, that's the only example you need of how the Pittsburgh Steelers are loyal to a fault. You got to show something here for Kenny Pickett. You got to control the rock. You got to be able to make passes. You got to take advantage of opportunities when those opportunities present themselves. You could not run into situations we were talking before the show. Deontay Johnson in week 1 has a wide open touchdown on a slant route. Kenny Pickett throws it behind him at his knees. You can't have those. You have one of those that could be the game in this one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's got to be Kenny Pickett. He doesn't have to have a great game. He's just got to take advantage of the opportunities that come his way. You got to see that this guy's capable of doing something this week. Otherwise, it's going to get ugly. And I think you're gonna leave this week and come back from the bye week and say, oh, okay, well, they're right back where they were, 2-3 weeks ago when they were losing to the Houston Texans.
He just has to get the ball out quick because with Aaron Donald, just he'll be breathing down his neck. And the thing about Kenny Pickett, he tends to run himself into pressure as pressure happens or when pressure isn't even there. So all he has to do is just get rid of the ball quickly. And I think the chances for success for this offense go through the roof.
Yes.
Absolutely through the roof by their standards, obviously. But we saw a little bit of that against the Ravens. He was actually getting the ball out much quicker and it was helping them. There was actually a moment where he thought about reversing field and going trying to exit back left of the pocket, and then he stops himself like right in that moment. He's like, oh wait, nope, never mind, I'm gonna come back, and then he throws it away, and I was like, yes, that's the right thing to do. Baby
That was
steps.
a beautiful throwaway. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, I agree. That's what they're missing. You know what I mean? Kenny Pickett puts them in tough situations all the time. You can't do that. You know what I mean? You already got so many things fighting against you as the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Your quarterback could not make things worse. I think that's as big as it gets. All right. It's Friday. Pittsburgh Steelers are back. I kind of missed this during the bye week. You know, like all you were able to do was make actual bets, and nobody wins on the bye week. And by nobody, I mean me. I do not win ever on the bye week. I think I've been doing this for 5 years. I think I'm 0 for 5. Never won a bet on the bye week. Don't know why. Your picks, Steven, we'll start with you. Pittsburgh Steelers, LA Rams, 4:05 on Sunday. For those of you out on the West Coast, it'll be 1 o'clock game. Your thoughts on, or your pick, your prediction, week 7.
Yeah, so last week I picked against the Steelers for the first time all season, and they actually won.
You did. Shout out. I took a lead on the season total last week. Pretty hyped about that one.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm doing this as kind of a reverse jinx thing, but I don't really feel good about this game. I think it's going to be 23-17 Rams. I think they're going to win. I think it's a close game all the way through. I think the Rams win on kind of not a last minute or last second score, but pretty late in the fourth. I think this game goes pretty deep into the fourth quarter in the second half. I don't know how optimistic I am about TJ. If he doesn't play, I certainly think that's way too much to overcome. If he's limited in really any capacity, I think that's a lot to overcome as well. I think Pittsburgh, gets off a bunch of yards, but kind of struggles in the red zone, and that's what ultimately costs them.
Yeah. You got a score here? Oh, you said 24-17?
23-17.
23-17.
Don't get that wrong.
I don't think 23-17 is a bad score. Like, I feel like, that's doable, and that's a situation the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they don't pull it out in the end there, you're upset, but you're like, it wasn't a blowout, I guess. Nick, what you're not that anybody should be happy about a loss. I feel like I should take all that back. No, but it's not a good score. It sucks. Go ahead, Nick, your prediction for this game.
I'm predicting the Rams to win 20-12.
Oh man, guys, what are we doing here?
Oh man, yeah. No, you're gonna have to pick the Steelers and make sure that you don't jinx them. But when it comes to the score, my whole thinking is I think what's gonna happen. Rams get off to a really quick start. Offense just jumbled out the gate as usual, and then the defense starts to step it up in the second half. They get a safety. The offense scores. They get a field goal as well off a
Nick's dropping safeties
off a turnover.
Okay.
They could keep it within one possession, but it could be a little bit too late for them by the time that ends up happening. But I'm going to say 20-12. Very untraditional score, but I think that's about right.
20-12. Okay. We got 23-16, 20-12. What's some scores going on here? Okay. Anybody who's taking the over on this game, you're nuts, because they're getting safeties. Okay. This is by no means, this is everything about the Pittsburgh Steelers, but at the same time, awful. Okay. 0 for 2 here. We're a Pittsburgh Steelers podcast, people. You can't just bet against the Pittsburgh Steelers at 3 for 3 here. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers walk out of here victorious. Everything says that they won't, but the Rams, they struggled against the Cardinals. The Cardinals are playing everybody tough. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they're trying their hardest to play people tough. So I'm going to say this is one of those games. I think that it's real simple. I think as the season goes on, Matt Canada will begin to, kind of integrate himself back into what's going on and make this more of a week 1, week 4 type of offense, week 2 type of offense. But for this week, I think they went into the bye week. I think Najee Harris and Mason Cole and Jalen Warren and everybody else sat everybody down and said, look okay, we're running the damn football, because that's what we do. It's the only thing we do well. There's hats made out there. Bill Cowher, there should be a plaque somewhere in Pittsburgh that says run the damn ball, because that is what the Pittsburgh Steelers do well. I expect them to do that just time and time again in this game. I expect anybody who's out there with Deontay Johnson and George Pickens and thinking, man, these are going to be my fantasy studs this week, you're wrong. It's not going to happen. Najee Harris, heavy dose of Jaylen Warren. I think this is a big, this is a big use a jumbo package type of game. I fully anticipate this to be a ground and pound football game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's how they're going to win. I don't think it's going to be pretty at all, but I think they'll do enough. Cooper Kupp's obviously going to find the end zone. That's just what he does. I'm going to go, 2 touchdowns. That's a lot of freaking touchdowns for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I want to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go 17-14 Pittsburgh. And honestly, I think that they win on like a last minute drive here. Like I think Kenny puts it in the end zone right at the end there to somebody. I don't know how it happens, but I think that's what's going to happen. Najee Harris or Jaylen Warren, I don't know who it is, but somebody's going to hit the end zone for the first time this season. So joyous to them. But you're all welcome, because when everybody's wrong, except for me, then we're going up 2-0 in the last 2 weeks. I'm feeling good about that one, but I'm not letting us walk out of here 0-3 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's just not, it's not happening. I'm going 17-14 Pittsburgh.